Calling Tesla. For vehicles, please press 1. For energy products, please press 2. For customer care, press 3. To return to the previous menu, press. Your estimated hold time is greater than 15 minutes.
Okay, so now it is the morning of the 24th. We're at first contribution on the 24th. We've been down a day now without the batteries. I called it in to Tesla yesterday morning, and they said that somebody would be by the end of the day. End of the day kind of came and went, so I called them up, and they had verified that it had been escalated to level 2 service. So I'm not sure what that means, but I'm hoping to get a call from a service specialist today. I'm also going to try and expedite this a little bit by giving SunWorks a call, see if maybe they have a technician that's trained in dealing with this particular issue. But let's go back over to the studio, and I'll bring you guys up to speed on what went on. Okay, let me give you a little background on how all this started. So while I was in the Bay Area attending a music event, I got a notification from the Tesla app that the system was going into Stormwatch, or that Stormwatch was available. Now, Stormwatch, for those of you who don't know what that is, it's a feature where when it's turned on, Tesla can then command the systems remotely to go ahead and charge off of grid power. And it'll do that even if it's evening and there's no solar contribution whatsoever going on. And it does that in case you're in an area where maybe there's a hurricane that's coming in, or some other rough storm. I don't know if it's available to be rapidly deployed in the case of a tornado. I would think that such a system is nimble enough that it could do that. So if any of you happen to be living in Tornado Alley that are watching this and have Powerwalls, let me know whether or not they are hooked into the rapid alert system for the tornadoes. That would be a really interesting thing to hear about. But the idea there obviously is that then you'll be able to charge the system. Well, because we do what we do, we had just been running a test like 4 or 5 days previous, where I had actually set the system on zombie apocalypse mode. So our system was actually disconnected from the grid. It had been for about 5 days, 4 days, 5 days. And so now I'm going to need to go back to the Energy Sovereignty Project home to go ahead and engage the grid power. So as you guys know, that the reason that we're doing the Energy Sovereignty Project is to kind of test out those edge cases and see where we can help you guys with information about how the system will perform in situations that you may never even get into. But again, it's important that you know about some of these edge cases, so that if they do happen, then you know how to respond, how to bring the systems back up, or maybe it'll give you some peace of mind that the system will work a certain way when these things happen. Well, this is where it got ugly. So what I wanted to do is allow us to examine those kinds of extreme cases. What I wanted to know was, under Stormwatch, how long would it take us to go from near zero to fully charged? I figured that would be something that all of you would be interested in. Well, the way that I had to accomplish that was that because we had just done a round trip to and from the Bay Area, I had plenty of room in the car to put all of the charge in. And so I wanted to expedite it. So not only did I charge the car, but I also turned the air conditioning on and I made myself a pizza. So while all of this is going on, I'm monitoring the app, chatting with a friend of mine, and I'm watching the system deplete. And the system gets down to 5%, and then I shut the AC system off using the phone app. The air conditioning system for the house is able to be controlled from the phone, and so I turn that off. And so then I'm about ready to unplug the car, and house goes off. So I pull up the Tesla app, and it's reading 0. So because of the heavy loads and the fact that the app doesn't really refresh itself when you're looking at the phone app, sometimes you can be looking at 5 or 8 minutes in the past, and that's apparently what was going on while I was monitoring it. Anyway, it's no big deal. We've had this situation before where we've accidentally fully depleted the system while the grid power was shut off. No big deal. Unplug the car, get everything ready, turn the power back on, and the system came up. System was in storm watch, wasn't charging the batteries. Okay. So then I thought, well, is this how the system normally works? I didn't know at that point that the batteries should actually be charging already. And the other thing I didn't think to look at was the green lights that are usually on the batteries. Yeah, they're off. I didn't notice that until the morning. So morning rolls around and I'm thinking, oh, well, maybe it's that I have to wait for first solar contribution, and sun comes up, still no response from the batteries. And it was at that point that I noticed that the lights were off. Well, I check all the breakers, make sure that there wasn't anything on my end that I'm missing, and I actually even then went through and cycled everything, turning the battery breakers off, turning the home breaker off, bring everything down, and then bring everything up from a baseline. Still nothing. All right, well, now it's time to give a call to Tesla, because this is obviously not SunWorks deal. This is, I figured it was a Tesla deal. So I called Tesla, and they ran me through a troubleshooting routine, and when they weren't able to bring it up, they looked deeper into it. And here's why the system went down. Well, apparently, while I was messing around with the system and it was nearly depleted, the system was doing a firmware update to the batteries. So when we lost power and everything came back up, there's a firmware mismatch, and now the system won't recognize the batteries at all, and they're bricked. They're not responding at all, not even turning on. So by that I mean that they're probably the internals are on since they're getting power, but they're not. The batteries themselves aren't responding. So the biggest issue there that I can see is that Tesla didn't have a failsafe built into their system where the batteries would not engage in a firmware update if they were below a certain state of charge, or possibly even if you didn't have them hooked up to grid power, that they wouldn't update. But then obviously there's some people that are going to be using these for an off-grid situation, and so they'll never have grid power. So it would be handy, I think, in the future if Tesla would set it up so that they won't start a firmware update when they're at below 10% or what, I don't really know. But that's the situation that we're in now. And so what I will do is close this out and then give you an update once the situation gets resolved. But as it stands now, we've got a call out to our installer, SunWorks, and then they're going to have a technician come out to see if they can run a bootstrap program to bring the system back up. And we'll keep you posted. So until next time, best of luck with your own systems, and feel free to give us a comment. Let us know if anybody that's out there has had something similar happen to them. We'd love to hear your input on that. And till next time, we'll be seeing you in the end of September update.